Whoa. And again?
Is that eyes? What was that?
What the hell was it?
What did she say?
You're going my pace or
You're
something
going
like that?
my pace, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to stick with you.
The wilderness is unpredictable, where the line between peace and danger vanishes in the dark. Whether it is sudden weather, wild predators, or the looming fear of a Bigfoot, the woods test your limits. From an unexplained voice right outside a locked truck, to a hiker appearing from nowhere on an empty trail, how would you survive a camping encounter that defies logic? On November 28, 2024, near Berlin Lake in Ohio, a video from Exploring with Bear follows a solo camper known for truck camping and remote wilderness exploration. The channel often shows quiet nights in isolated locations. But in this case, he returns to a place where something had already gone wrong before. This time, the night feels different from the start, long before anything clearly reveals itself.
We are truck camping and probably one of the most terrifying places.
But there has been a lot that happened here. There was something outside the tent making all kinds of racket, growling. I think there was even growling and crap, man. And I was so freaking scared.
I got out of here. I left. I come back to retrieve the tent sometime later, and it was jacked. It was like had rips in it and crap. There was a cinder block thrown on top of it. Some Bigfoot knocks. We'd put out some apples and stuff that night, but I don't feel like it was Bigfoot, my boy.
So tonight, I guess we're just going to see if we can make it all night or not. It is going to be cold.
I have a wool blanket, and I also have another big blanket back there. I've already did one Bigfoot knock and a Bigfoot whoop. We're also about to get out here in a second and make some meat, man. And we're going to do some cooking and some eating over the fire. And hopefully, while we're cooking and sitting around the fire.
So it's going to be a challenge to see if we can make it all night without running the truck.
The video begins with him explaining why this location stands out. On a previous trip, something had disturbed his camp. His tent was torn, there were strange sounds outside, and something heavy was thrown onto the top. That experience changed how he prepared to spend the night here.
So we did actually just have our first snow. Might have been yesterday. This is freaking me out. And it's been raining all day. But I was able to find some wood. You just got to get the wood that's sitting off the ground or hanging from trees dead. It's so scary being back here. So scary. We got to get this food cooked though. Man, I'm hungry. It's going to be cold. Yeah, that's not going good enough. So I did bring some dry wood and a little burn pit because I didn't know how the fire situation was going to go. I'm actually happy it's not raining right now. Whew, man, I keep seeing eyes are playing tricks on me or something crazy. I'm glad I had some more dry wood in the truck. So, I mean, I could probably find drier wood if I searched hard. It'd take longer, but definitely way more challenging once all the wood's wet. Been raining all day or whatever.
What was that? Happy crapping me. I keep seeing these flashes of light. Just really fast. Like I thought I was seeing stuff earlier. But I know I just seen that. Just a real quick, like, flash of light.
Hear the sizzle? I ain't gonna unmask it yet. But
Is that eyes? What was that? Where's my flash? Look at my eyes.
As the evening continues, the conditions are already difficult. The ground is wet, and the area feels cold and isolated. He starts a fire and begins cooking. Because it had rained earlier, finding dry wood takes effort. Even while preparing food, he keeps looking around, staying alert. Not long after, something unusual happens. In the distance, faint flashes of light appear in the woods. They move quickly, similar to a flashlight passing through the trees. This changes the situation immediately, suggesting that something, or someone, might be out there.
It's so dark out. So if you see cars passing out there, there's a lake in between us and that road. The lake's pretty dried up though. It's more like a river right now. This is the area that Matt Moneymaker from Finding Bigfoot. This is real close to the area that he had his first sighting. Berlin Lake. And I've had some crazy stuff happen here to the point like we're not going to go into the woods far. We're just we're checking right around our camp before we get our food and get in the truck and eat. There's a bad feeling right now, like there's just something watching. And I can't even tell from where exactly. And I hear little things from all directions. Whew, man, this light's bad. I mean, lucky we're not going deep. Man, I probably shouldn't have done that. It's like a little wetlands right here. All marshy. Freaking spooky, man. This place creeps me out. It's done. I just gotta plate it. Alright. Very little mess. Very little mess. Yeah, baby. And it is freaking scary out here. So it's about that time to get back in the truck and eat with the doors locked.
The feeling of being watched grows stronger. He grabs a flashlight and walks around the camp to check the area. The ground is muddy and visibility is limited. Despite looking, he does not find anything that explains the lights. Still, the unease remains. After returning, he quickly brings his food into the truck and locks the doors. The environment becomes quiet again, but only briefly.
Oh, what the heck was that? Whew. Did you guys hear that? It sounded like something was running or something. What was that? Doors are locked. Whew. All right, let's just wait a minute. See if we hear anything else. That was scary. My hair's standing straight up right now. I just threw that rag on the ground and I heard hello from like behind me. What in the world? I don't see any lights out there. Doors are locked. That sounded like hello. I mean, maybe it wasn't hello, but it sounded something, said something right outside. I'm not opening the door to look. They haven't come up and knocked on the windows or door or nothing. It was just like it was like a, hello, hello, sort of like that kind of voice too. Hello. Okay.
Soon after, he hears movement outside. The sound is heavy, like something running close to the vehicle. Then, the moment shifts. A voice comes from outside, clearly saying, hello. Everything changes. What once felt distant is now right there. But that night didn't stay quiet. Something happened that he would only realize later had put him closer to danger than he thought. They couldn't open the truck door and just leave, but even that moment alone was enough to shake anyone. By the end of the video, morning arrives. Nothing is visible outside, but the events of the night remain unexplained. Sometimes, in remote places, small signs can mean more than they seem. A light, a sound, or even a voice can change everything. If you heard something like that outside your shelter, would you check or stay where you are? On April 5th, 2026, in Gainesville, United States, a video from Rolling with Ophelia, a channel focused on van life and off-grid outdoor living, captures what starts as a quiet night in a remote forest. Something interrupts that silence, long before they understand what is actually outside. The evening begins like any other. Their converted bus is parked in a quiet clearing, surrounded by trees and open land. After setting up, they go through their normal routine, preparing food, spending time inside, and getting ready to sleep. As the sun sets, they take their dogs out for a short walk along the dirt road. The light fades, and the area becomes completely still. There are no signs of other people nearby. After returning to the bus, they close everything up and go to sleep. Hours later, around 3:11 a.m., something breaks the silence. One of the dogs suddenly starts barking. The sound is sharp and urgent. At first, they think someone might be outside. The idea of a person nearby in the dark seems possible. For a moment, nothing appears. The darkness hides everything beyond a short distance, but they stay focused, reacting to something outside. Then, slowly, a large dark figure comes into view. It moves from the edge of the frame, no longer hidden. What they thought might be a person turns out to be something else, a black bear. The animal walks near the bus, close enough to inspect objects left outside. It lowers its head, sniffing the area. There is no sudden movement, but the distance is close enough to matter. After a short time, it turns and disappears back into the darkness. Sometimes, situations like this have simple causes, like animals moving through their territory or being drawn to food. But in the middle of the night, it feels very different. If something got that close to you in the dark, would you even realize what it was in time? The disturbing camping encounter comes from Broken Capital, a UK-based paranormal exploration channel focused on nighttime investigations in forests and locations tied to urban legends. It is June 10th, 2023 in Cannock Chase.
So, what? That's weird as fuck.
Whoa.
The team steps into the woodland at night. Almost immediately, they notice a distant, unfamiliar sound coming from deeper within the forest. It isn't loud, but it's clear enough to make them stop. There's no obvious direction or source. The mood shifts quickly, from casual exploring to careful listening.
What is that? That's like a kid whining.
Whoa. And again? Do you want to keep...
What was that? We're only on the fucking path, we're not even in there yet. Do you mean come on?
I want to get off that bit of there.
Here we go. I mean, there is a graveyard, like just up there, through them trees. There's two. Whoa, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Soon after, it happens again. The sound becomes more consistent, a whining, almost squeaking noise, described as something in distress. What stands out is how it behaves. Every time they move toward it, it seems to shift location, never staying still long enough to be tracked. It creates the sense of movement without anything visible to confirm it. As time passes, the sound becomes stronger, harder to ignore, and more difficult to explain.
You used to hear mumbling then?
Yeah.
As cheesy as it sounds, it's dropping cold. That sounded like a little girl murmuring. But I want it to be that. Secretly I don't, because I fucking hate this, but...
Is it two children or is it two
The black-eyed children, it's called, isn't it? So...
Then a heavy thud breaks the pattern. This one is different, louder, closer, more physical. It suggests something with real weight moving nearby, not just distant noise carrying through the trees. For the first time, the situation shifts from simply hearing something to the possibility that something is actually there.
Whoa.
That was massive behind you. Come on, fuck it, come on. Just keep going. I don't like it here, you know, we're not even in it, really. Do you know what I mean? We're on the fucking outskirts with it. Carl's had to get dressed. because it has gone so cold. Like out of nowhere, it was like a breeze.
Near the vehicles, a low growl is heard. This time it's close, not far away. It doesn't move, it doesn't fade, just stays. Somewhere in the darkness beyond the light. At this point, the environment feels occupied, even if nothing can be clearly seen.
Fuck off, it said. He just shouted, fuck off.
Which way did that come from? Behind us?
Yeah.
There's a thing back in my bag there, that pocket's open, just get that torch.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Shouted, fuck off real loud. Just some bloke shouting, fuck off. No, it'll be awesome, won't it? You can see the lights, there's nowhere else lit up.
Mate, let me just get this.
Mate, that fucking landed next to you. Right, let's go. We didn't even get to do fucking round 2 soon, yeah?
You're chucking bricks at us.
All I heard was fuck off. Which way was it?
Round, wasn't it?
No. No, it weren't.
What?
Let me do a little turn. Oh, Carl.
Shit, hold on.
Carl, we're lost.
We'll get out. Oh, just cut across if you have to. Let's get in between the trees if they are chucking bricks at us.
Then, everything changes. A voice suddenly shouts from the woods, aggressive, direct, clearly human. Moments later, objects are thrown toward them. There's no longer any doubt about something being out there. They pull back immediately. For most of the night, nothing is fully clear. The sounds seem to move. The voices never form properly, and whatever is out there is never fully seen. It feels strange, but still uncertain. Then suddenly, it isn't anymore. The moment someone finally reveals themselves, everything from before starts to make sense. The noises weren't random, and the movement wasn't just in their heads. They just didn't understand what they were dealing with yet. And that's what makes this camping encounter unsettling. Not just that something was out there, but how long it stayed hidden without being understood. Sometimes, when things don't make sense right away, it's not because they're impossible. It's just because you haven't seen them clearly yet. So if you were standing there in the dark, hearing those sounds getting closer, would you stay and try to figure it out, or leave before it's too late? The next video comes from the Haggett Project, a solo wilderness camping and exploration channel focused on remote forest environments. It is March 9th, 2025 in a remote mountain forest in the United States. The creator arrives in the early hours of the morning. Around 3 a.m., the timing immediately stands out. It is completely dark, visibility is minimal, and the forest is silent. While searching for a place to stop, he notices signs of prior use. A dry, square patch on the ground suggests someone had camped there recently.
My feet are right up against the trunk. You can also see my makeshift foam pieces to cover the windows. I'm hanging these little curtains using this cargo net, so that blocks the light coming in.
Shortly after falling asleep, he wakes abruptly. A distant dog bark breaks the silence, adding a sense of unease to the moment. As he becomes aware, he experiences a brief paralysis-like state, unable to move fully. During that moment, he sees something deeply unsettling. A dark, hand-shaped shadow near the door, reaching, then gone. Whether it is a dream, a hallucination, or something else, it leaves a clear impression.
Interesting, structure-wise. Although now this is interesting too. Something walked through here, right along the edge of the snow. And what the heck is this? It's a piece of roofing. But yeah, that's pieces of the ground.
Later, while cooking, the silence is broken. Distant gunshots echo through the forest. The sound is far enough away not to pose an immediate threat, but close enough to confirm activity in the area. It reinforces something important. He is not as isolated as he thought.
Pelvis, right? Deer or elk?
Near a gated road, he spots fresh tire tracks. They lead deeper into restricted access areas, suggesting recent movement by other people. There is no indication of who or why, only that someone has passed through not long before. At this point, things start to feel different. He may be alone, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. Nothing big happens, no one steps out, no one confronts him. But the small signs keep adding up. Someone was there before. Something is moving. There are sounds that shouldn't be there, but are. And after a while, it stops feeling random. It starts to feel like he's in a place he doesn't really understand. Sometimes it's not one scary moment that makes you feel unsafe. It's a bunch of small things that slowly build up in your mind. So if you were in his place, noticing all of this around you, would you stay and ignore it, or leave before something finally shows itself? On November 1st, 2024, along a quiet riverbank in Wisconsin, a video from Live 2-Day Wonderland follows a couple known for filming relaxed camping trips and outdoor lifestyle content. Their channel usually focuses on peaceful setups and simple routines in nature. But during this trip, something changes after dark. It is not clear, not direct, but enough to make the night feel different before anything is fully seen. The video begins with a calm setup. The couple arrives at a sandy riverbank surrounded by trees during the fall season. As the evening comes, they cook, eat, and talk while the light fades outside. The river remains still, and the forest stays quiet. Then, sometime during the night, something changes. A noise comes from outside the tent. Their dog becomes alert, lifting its head and focusing on something in the darkness.
What the hell was that? What was that?
What is it?
Oh, she was good looking out. What is that?
They listen closely, but nothing can be clearly seen. The darkness beyond the tent hides everything. The next morning, the feeling doesn't go away. It gets worse. A few unfamiliar men casually walk in with fishing gear, moving right up near their campsite like it's nothing.
First cup of coffee. Tons of fish jumping all night. It is a trafficked site, like people coming down to fish. So we've had 2 or 3 people drive down and walk up on us.
That guy put his rod in there, and literally in not even 1-2 minutes, he had a big perch fish on there.
It's a little odd, like I would never walk up on somebody at their campsite and ask them to fish or something. Like, here it is 7:30 in the morning and we're just getting up. And
Like I said, obviously this is a very known fishing area.
but the whole river, there's lots of places to fish. The canoe launch is just up the way here. This is more of a camping spot. I get people come down here to fish, but it's a little
There's
weird.
not a sign. There's those other ones say specifically no camping. This one does not say that.
We didn't say anything. Let him make a few casts as he was passing through. A nice older gentleman. But thing is, when someone drives up on you like that, you don't know what it's going to be. That's what she's always worrying about, boondocking. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
The couple quietly talks about it, both feeling the same unease but not fully sure what to make of it. Nothing happens beyond that. There is no confrontation. But the feeling is different. What seemed like a quiet and private location turns out to be less isolated than expected. Sometimes nothing clearly dangerous happens, but small signs change how a place feels. A sound, a reaction, or someone appearing too close can be enough. If you were there, would you trust what you see, or what feels wrong first? On March 20th, 2023, Basecamp Chris shares a camping story set in northern Utah. This time it follows a man returning to a place that already felt off before night even began. Rodney arrives at a familiar campsite tied to personal memories. It's not his first time there, but something feels different as soon as he gets there. He notices a tent already set up, but no one is around. There are no vehicles, no gear, no clear signs of anyone nearby.
Okay, so Rodney, back in 2016, June of 2016, his wife had passed away. Really tough, really hard situation. And what he wanted to do was go to their old camp spot east into the mountains there, into the national forest, and say goodbye to her. So he packed everything up, and he's leaving from Ogden, Utah, going about 35, 40 miles east and a little bit north into the Wasatch Cache National Forest. So he finally gets over there and he's heading up this road, very windy road along this Curtis Creek it was called. And he finally gets to this campsite that they had spent time at, and there was a tent in the campsite. And he was really disappointed to see that. But he noticed it was a little strange. There was no vehicles, there was no cooler, no other camping gear around the tent. It was just a two-man tent just sitting there in their spot. He didn't feel right camping there, so he walked over and he looked at this tent, and there was no rain fly on it. He looked into the tent and there was nothing in the tent. He decided to go up the road a couple miles, find another spot. He drove, didn't find anything, and he didn't feel right about coming all the way out here and not being at least near this spot where he had these memories with his wife. So he comes back and he finds a spot about 20 yards away from this other campsite that they like to stay at. It was a little tighter with the pine trees, but he had just enough room to put his cabin tent up. But what was interesting, the whole day, him packing and heading out, he had this gut feeling that something was going to go wrong. He didn't really know what to do with it, but he still had this feeling.
As he walks the area, it starts to feel like he's being watched. At one point, he hears faint, unclear sounds coming from the forest, but nothing he can identify.
He decided to go for a little walk down the road, stretch his legs, and then walk by the old campsite. He continues on down this road, and he had this feeling, he went a couple miles, of feeling of being watched. And it was really weird because he didn't hear anything, he didn't see anything. He just had this feeling of being watched. He said, I didn't think it was a bear, but I had this feeling that it was a Bigfoot. And he passes the old campsite again, and he thought he heard some talking off in the trees. He couldn't quite hear what they were saying or what it was. It was very indiscernible. It was almost like mumbling. It was hard to really nail it down. You kind of heard it in and out for a little bit, and it was very faint.
That night, he wakes up suddenly to a deep whooping sound.
And around midnight, he hears this really loud whoop, whoop, and it was coming towards his tent. It's pitch black. He doesn't have the lights on. It just woke him up, and he's thinking, this is unreal. You're kidding me. Of all the times I'm alone and just going through this stuff in my life here, and now this is happening. It was just kind of surreal to be experiencing that. It quit after a pretty short time, about 20 seconds, it was done.
Then the sound changes. A scream begins, longer, sharper, and different from before.
Then about 1, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, he was awoken again, but this time it was this really loud screaming. It made the hair on the back of his neck go up. And he said at the end it sounded like a female voice to it. Again, he laid there, he listened. Finally it stopped after 15-20 minutes.
It doesn't sound like a typical animal. At times it almost resembles a human voice, but not clearly enough to understand. The sounds continue through the night, repeating and lasting longer. It no longer feels random. It feels directed, like something is staying nearby. As morning approaches, everything goes quiet. When there's enough light, he looks outside and notices a large shadow reflected across his truck.
He's in the trees, the sun's on the horizon, and it's still dark where he was. He took all the courage he had to unzip the window. He looked over by his truck, and he saw a big shadow cast on his truck. He waited a little bit longer, the sun was higher, unzips the tent, he gets out, right away he goes behind the tent and he's looking for tracks. He didn't see anything. Goes down to the road, it's a dirt road. If it walked across the road, I'd see some tracks. He looked pretty hard for tracks, didn't see any tracks.
He doesn't investigate. Instead, he packs up quickly and leaves the area. Sometimes, nothing is clear in the moment. Just small signs that don't feel right. But it didn't end there. Years later, he returned to the same spot with a friend. This time, The area looked different. Large trees were knocked down, scattered across the ground in ways that didn't seem natural. Seeing that brought something back, an older experience from his 20s, another disturbing camping encounter he hadn't forgotten. What you're about to hear next is the audio Rodney recorded as he shared that story with the host.
And at nighttime, my wife woke me up and nothing dawned on me. She said somebody's raiding our camp. Big canvas tent. It was about 16 foot long. The dogs were whimpering, but they never barked. And, none of this really dawned on me. I was tired, so I grabbed a black powder, which I had at the time, and I unzipped the door and I yelled, "You better get out of here or I'm going to shoot your ass." And it was so black, I couldn't see nothing. And as I turned to go back in, I looked down the length of my tent, and there was a big black shadow there. I could see the blackness, and it took off. And it was blacker than the black outside. And when it did, it didn't make no noise. It took me about a week or two, to be honest with you, to suddenly realize, that wasn't no person. There's no way he could have done it without hearing an ow, ooh, or something, stubbing a foot, falling in a hot gut hole or a big boulder. And it didn't have a light. So, and it was dark enough that there's no way you'd see a human doing it without a light, without making some kind of a noise there, And then It dawned on me that it was at least 2 feet taller than me, that shadow. And it was pretty wide.
Looking back, Rodney began to suspect that what he encountered might have been something much larger than he first realized, possibly something like Bigfoot. Ironically, not fully understanding what it could be may have helped him stay calm and make the right decision to leave. Many viewers agree that situations like this are less about what you see and more about how you react. In remote places, staying calm and trusting your instincts can make all the difference. So if you were in that situation, what would be the first thing you'd do? This disturbing camping encounter comes from Rachel and Tommy, a US-based van life and wilderness exploration channel focused on real-time outdoor stays in remote countryside locations. It takes place in April 2025 in southern Oklahoma, United States. Before anything begins, they refer back to a previous visit. On that earlier trip, they describe seeing movement behind the van while eating, something they couldn't identify. They also mention hearing howls coming from multiple directions, creating the sense of being surrounded or triangulated. Nothing was confirmed at the time, but it left a strong enough impression for them to return.
Just turned the camera off, and we heard a sound out here we never heard. It was not a howl, it was not a roar, it was a rumble. It wasn't an airplane or anything. I know what, obviously, I was born in 1971, I know what airplanes sound like. But this is about the time of day last time, whenever I was eating and something walked across behind us, and it was just right at dark. We heard something howl coming from over there, and one from back over here, and then one from back out here.
Yeah.
As darkness builds, the sound continues. One of them points out a clear direction, suggesting it is coming from a fixed point rather than moving randomly. That detail changes how it feels. It is no longer just background noise. It feels located, controlled, and intentional.
Let's see if y'all can hear this. Let me get over here where it's quiet. All right, I'm going to zoom in. Zoom my camera in.
Go away.
I don't know what that is coming from down in that area. Not so much over here. Well, I don't know.
Instead of staying inside, they make a decision. They leave the van and move toward the wooded peninsula where the sound seems to be coming from. Visibility drops immediately. Headlamps only light up small sections at a time. Insects fill the air, and the terrain becomes harder to read. They keep moving forward anyway, trying to track something they still haven't seen. There is no confirmation, only the same unclear direction pulling them deeper. Most of the time in situations like this, the instinct is to stay where you are. Stay in the van, stay in the light, and keep distance from the unknown. But here, they do the opposite. They hear something they can't explain and choose to move toward it. Not because they understand it, but because they want to. That choice shifts everything from simply observing to putting themselves in it. Sometimes the difference isn't what you hear, but the decision you make after. And when you keep moving towards something you don't understand, at what point do you realize you might be going too far? The last terrifying video comes from Destination Unknown, an outdoor exploration channel focused on immersive hiking experiences in remote locations. It is February 4th, 2023 in the Blue Ridge Mountain region near Asheville, North Carolina, United States. The group begins their hike along a remote forest trail.
So we went on a hike. We were in Asheville, North Carolina. We're just gradually, it took us like forever to find this mountain, and it was beautiful. So we're going up there. It was just us. All of a sudden, I hear like footsteps behind me, and it's like this girl. It was what she said that like gave me and Chip the creeps.
We're like a half mile into this thing.
Right.
Out of nowhere. Didn't see her following us.
So all of a sudden, I look behind me. I'm like, oh, you know me. I'm like, this is Shy Girl, right? So I'm like, oh, hey. I'm like, what's up? I was like, I'm so sorry. If you want to go ahead of us, go for it. We're just taking our time. And she goes, what did she say?
You're going my pace or something?
You're going
like that?
my pace. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to stick with you. I mean, she did not
if
say
we're going your pace
anything.
And we haven't seen nobody for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And now you're right up on us.
I mean, the trailhead, you start right from the street and then you go up. So there's no other way.
At first, everything follows a typical travel vlog tone, with steady movement along the path, casual conversation, and wide shots of the surrounding woodland. As they continue, the environment becomes more enclosed. The trail narrows, visibility shortens, and the number of people drops to zero. They are deep enough in that any encounter should be predictable, either ahead of them or coming toward them.
I didn't see her when we got here. Haven't seen nobody on this trail. There's no other trails. There's nobody in it. Where'd that girl go, babe? Did we leave her?
I don't know where she went, but she went somewhere else.
She just disappeared. That's so creepy. Was she real? Or where would she have gone?
I don't know.
It's crazy, man. I mean...
She literally disappeared. Unless there's a different part to the trail.
Then the woman appears behind them. No footsteps are heard. No earlier sighting. Just suddenly there, walking along the same trail after a long stretch where no one else had been visible. The timing is what stands out. Later, they begin trying to piece it together. They review the layout of the trail and the surrounding terrain, noting how limited the options are. The path is defined, and while visibility is restricted, it should still allow movement to be tracked at close range. But no one recalls seeing her leave. By the end of the hike, the question remains unresolved. They revisit the moment, focusing less on her appearance and more on her disappearance, because that is the part that does not align. Seeing someone on a trail is not unusual. Even in remote areas, you expect it eventually, but it usually follows a pattern. You see them coming, you hear them approach, you pass, and they leave in a way that makes sense. Here, that pattern breaks. She appears without buildup and leaves without a clear process. And once that sequence is broken, it is not the encounter that stays with you, but the gap in between. Sometimes it is not what you see that feels strange, but what you never see happen. So if something like that happened right behind you, would you notice it in time, or only realize it after it was already gone? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.